So apparently there's civil wars going down at Real Madrid. Obviously this week I'm pretty sure we've all heard the news of the Valverde Tchouameni fight. Apparently they had two fights. The first day it was more of an argument. There was a bit of tension there, but it was more of an argument. Nothing too major happened there. But then on the second day, the very next day apparently, it led to Tchouameni punching Valverde, and the media were explaining it or describing it as sort of like brain trauma, head trauma, and I was just thinking to myself, yo, what is going on? Apparently the beef between the two all started because Tchouameni went to go shake Valverde's hand. Valverde pretty much just aired him, refused to shake his hand, sort of just walked past him, and yeah, that's sort of where the tension started. Then they had the argument on the first day, and then the next day Valverde accused Tchouameni of leaking that first incident, which led to the incident the next day where Tchouameni reportedly banged Valverde in his face. And I was just thinking, oh my days, like what is actually going on? And things like this have been going on all season for Real Madrid. The media, you know, apparent insiders have described this Real Madrid squad as very childish, very immature, which is surprising because yes, they do have a lot of young players, but they still have players who have skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of players who are experienced. Carvajal is in that dressing room. David Alaba's in that dressing room. But apparently people are saying, you know, Carvajal, he's been a bad leader. He's been a bad backup. Apparently, you know, he's a bit salty about not starting. You know, he's a bit salty about, you know, Trent taking his place. Obviously, I'm pretty sure we've all seen that clip when he was on the bench and sort of mocking Trent for, you know, for jogging, not running back. Apparently Alaba's just sort of there at Real Madrid. He's not really doing anything too destructive, but also he's just sort of just keeping to himself, you know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of players who have experience. They've been in the game. Yes, they're young. A lot of them are under the age of 26, but still, you still have a lot of players who have done big things. These players have won, you know, multiple Champions League. Some won Champions League with Real Madrid. Mbappe is a World Cup winner. We'll get to him in a minute. But Mbappe's played in big games. He's played in, you know, Champions League games, World Cup games. Jude Bellingham, he's been around the block. Vinicius, Rodrigo, obviously he's injured right now. And there's so many, Rudiger, Courtois, there's so many players. But apparently this Real Madrid squad is very childish, very immature. There's been tension all season. Apparently a lot of the tension came when Xabi Alonso got sacked, because apparently with Xabi Alonso there was quite a divide. You know, some players wanted Xabi Alonso to stay, other players were happy to let Xabi Alonso go, and that sort of created tension between the group, which is crazy. Obviously Real Madrid have not had a good season by any stretch of the imagination. Like, they're 11 points behind Barca in the league, and the crazy thing is this news actually comes out on the week that they play Barca. If Barca beat them at the Camp Nou this week, they mathematically win the league. So literally Barca have the chance to win the league on Real Madrid's head tops this week. And then, so yeah, this is probably the worst time for all this news to be coming out, you know what I'm saying? But you know, the Champions League exit to Bayern Munich, all of these things, you know, obviously the Copa del Rey early exit, but Real Madrid, they normally exit the Copa del Rey. I don't know what it is with them and that trophy, but they just don't like that trophy at all. But in terms of La Liga and Champions League, it's been very, very underwhelming. Obviously, Xabi Alonso got sacked mid-season. When Xabi Alonso got sacked, I'm pretty sure they were, what, 4 points behind Barca? As soon as he got sacked, now they're 11 points behind Barcelona, you understand? So that's maybe look like a mistake. Maybe Xabi Alonso deserved time, deserved his own players. Maybe he deserved, you know, a second summer to, you know, sort of weed out the players that he doesn't want, and sort of been given a little bit more control in terms of who he wants in the squad, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, apparently there's just a lot of tension going on, a lot of divide in the dressing room. Obviously, there was the incident between Rudiger and Alvaro Carreras where Rudiger apparently slapped the guy. Crazy work again. Apparently the young G, what's his name? There was some incident about the treatment table thingy. Apparently at Real Madrid there's sort of like an unwritten rule where, you know, when players come in and go get their treatment, the veteran players have first priority. However, the young G, I think his name is, what's his name? He's got the long name begin with M. I can't remember. He's the right winger for Real Madrid. I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try. But the Argentinian right winger, he went to Xabi Alonso. When Xabi Alonso was there, he was complaining about, you know, how he doesn't really like the rule. And apparently there's just a lot of complaining, you know. Florentino Perez, you know, Don Perez, he's apparently unhappy with the group as well. He's also one of them people who are unhappy about how childish and immature this group is, despite them having experience in the game. Apparently, you know, now another story, yo, people are saying that, yo, Vinicius Jr. is the one, you know, leaking stuff to the press. Apparently Real Madrid players suspect that it's Vinicius leaking little stuff to the press. I don't know about that one. I don't want to accuse Vinny of that, but that's crazy work if it is him. Maybe it could be him. Maybe Vinny's feeling away because, you know, it was only 2 seasons ago where Vinny was on top of the world. Face of Real Madrid, you know, face of the club, winning a Champions League, nearly on the cusp of winning a Ballon d'Or. But hey man, these last 2 seasons haven't really gone well for Vinicius, you know what I'm saying? And it's been like that with a lot of players. Like, it feels like ever since Mbappe came, things have been going well. Now, me personally, I don't want to put it all on Mbappe because Mbappe, yes, his first season at Real Madrid, he performed below his standard, you know what I'm saying? But you can't say that about this second season. This second season, when he has been injury-free, he has played very well. He's put up numbers. He's impacted big games for Real Madrid, you understand? So you can't really say that about him this year. However, we all know Real Madrid fans, man, there has to be a scapegoat, and Mbappe has been the scapegoat because they're seeing it as, look, when Mbappe came, we were Champions League winners. We had won 2 of the last 3 Champions League, and since Mbappe has come, we haven't made it past the quarterfinal. So Real Madrid fans are looking at it like that, and now there's a petition for Mbappe to exit the club, which for me is crazy work because Real Madrid spent about 3 to 4 years trying to get Mbappe to come to the club. I remember they tried in 2021. They tried in 2022 when his contract ran down. They tried again in 2024 and finally got him. They've been chasing the guy literally since 2021. You know what I'm saying? Literally since the Euros, since the European Championship, that 2020 Euros. It's crazy. And now after 2 years they want him gone, despite him, you know, performing on the pitch, despite there being other players who have massively underperformed since Mbappe has come. It's not just been him, by the way, but there's been other players who have massively performed. Vinicius Jr. in particular. Jude Bellingham has not hit the heights in the last 18 months as he did in his first 18 months at Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of that petition really confuses me. I know the memes are funny about the dictatorship and everything, but I honestly believe it's not Mbappe's fault. Mbappe is still a quality player at the end of the day. He's still one of them ones where, in my opinion, he's one of the cornerstones. You build around him, you know what I'm saying? You build a squad around Mbappe. But yeah, man, the Valverde and Tchouameni thing, that's crazy. Apparently Valverde, he is going to be more heavily sanctioned than Tchouameni, simply because he is being seen as the ones who instigated the incident, and as well he's the vice captain of the club, you know what I'm saying? He's the vice captain of the club. They expect him to do better as well, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, civil wars at Real Madrid, civil wars, man. Like, I don't even know, because it's not a coincidence though that all of this has been happening since the likes of Benzema, Kroos and Modric have left the club, you know what I'm saying? Those were probably the last guys from the original Real Madrid three-peat. Obviously Carvajal is still there, but apart from Carvajal, it was them three who were still there from the first Real Madrid three-peat. They were all there when they won that 2022 Champions Leagues, when they went on that incredible run, comebacks galore. We remember the PSG tie, the Benzema hat-trick. We remember the Chelsea tie, where it was just a back and forth. Obviously the Man City game, the Man City tie, the comeback there, you know what I'm saying? They won the Champions League. Obviously the next year went to the semi-finals, Man City beat them, but they still managed to get themselves a Copa del Rey. I think Barca won the league in 22-23, but Real Madrid still managed to get themselves a Copa del Rey. They still went to the semi-final, and obviously, you know, that's obviously so below Real Madrid standards, but it's like, it's acceptable. When a season like that, it's not time to hit the panic button. Then in 2024, they signed Jude Bellingham. They changed the system. They change it to a diamond. Obviously Benzema leaves. Jude plays behind Rodrigo and Vinny. They go on to win the Champions League that year, you know, in 2024. Then Mbappe's come. Kroos leaves that summer. Mbappe comes. Lose to Arsenal, Modric leaves after the Club World Cup, and all of this just starts happening. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise at all, to be fair. You would think that, like I said, you think guys like Carvajal, guys like Alaba would step up to the plate. These guys have been playing at the top level for about 12, 13 years now, especially David Alaba. David Alaba was literally a starter for Bayern, I'm pretty sure, back in like 2011. So you'd think everything that he's seen, he's won how many Champions? I'm pretty sure he's won 3 Champions Leagues himself. You would think that, yo, he'd sort of galvanize the troops. Carvajal being Real Madrid, he's a Real Madrid legend. He's a Real Madrid legend. You think that, yo, he would galvanize the troop. He sort of start mentoring Trent, telling him to do this, do that. But apparently, they're not really doing their thing. Rudiger, he's slapping guys about. He's slapping guys in training. Courtois, I don't know what part to play Thibaut Courtois has in it, but considering what happened with Belgium and how they imploded, and how, you know, Courtois, apparently he's a snaky guy. We all saw what he did to KDB. So, hey man, Courtois, for what happened with Belgium to what happened with Real Madrid, hey man, maybe he's not the best guy to have in the dressing room either. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Just a lot of guys, you know, a lot of egos going on. I have no problem with certain guys having egos, because certain guys have earned that reputation, you know what I'm saying? Certain guys have done things in the game for Real Madrid. But there's other players who are who I feel like are a bit too big for their boots, who haven't done enough, especially as Real Madrid players, because we all know for Real Madrid, the standard is a little bit higher. You can't, there's certain guys who are probably walking around in there who haven't done enough as a Real Madrid player to warrant, you know, making these demands. Apparently, you know, before there've been players, you know, going up to Florentino Perez, making demands, telling him to do this, telling him to do that. We all know that Real Madrid have always been a players' club. They're about the superstars. Obviously, there was the Galactico team. Then there was the summer they signed Benzema, Ronaldo, Kaká. We all know that they're players first. It's Don Perez, he's players first, you know what I'm saying? If they don't like a manager, he's out of there. They didn't like Benitez, he's out of there. They didn't like Alonso was out of there. They didn't like Lopetegui was out of there quickly. So we all know it's a players first club. However, I feel like this group of players haven't done enough to really warrant, you know, making those demands. Because like I said, it's Real Madrid standards. You know, one Champions League for Real Madrid, it's like, alright, cool, you know, you won Real Madrid one Champions League. But there are other players who have came recently before you who have won 3, 4, 5. You know what I'm saying? Some even 6 for the club. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain guys walking around in there who are making demands, and I'm like, yo, you just came fresh. You were just a new signing 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, or you've been at the club for a while, but you only started ascending 2-3 years ago. I'm looking at guys like Bellingham, guys like Vinicius. It's like, yeah, you man, you're quality players, but you only came Vinicius. You came fresh out. You fresh out the cut about 3 years ago. You know, your first 2-3 years at Real Madrid were not the greatest. You popped out since, you know, that 21-22 season. But hey man, those first 2 years they wanted you out. You know what I'm saying? They wanted you out. Jude Bellingham, you only arrived. You know, this is what Bellingham's 3rd season. But like I said, he's done well, but the last 18 months haven't been as good as the first 18 months. And for Real Madrid standards, you know, a Champions League trophy, you need to do more, you know what I'm saying? Real Madrid fans are looking for you to do more. Real Madrid, they need to be at least in the semi-finals every single year at a minimum. They feel like it's their trophy, rightly so. They've won it the most. So, yeah, the standard is different at Real Madrid. But, yeah, man, civil wars at Real Madrid. This is literally on the same week they take on Barcelona. And with Real Madrid and Barcelona, I feel like you always feel like it's a balance of power in Spain, you know what I'm saying? You always feel like there's a balance of power in Spain. I felt like, you know, back in maybe like 2005, 2006, the balance of power is shifted to Barcelona slightly. When Barcelona won that Champions League in 2006, it felt like the balance of power had shifted. But then Real Madrid managed to claw back. They won 2 La Liga titles back to back. Barcelona fell behind in both seasons. But then Pep Guardiola came, 2008, balance of power, it shifted again. You know, there was the 6-2 at the Bernabeu, the 5-0 at the Camp Nou, you know, Mourinho's first game. Barcelona won 2 Champions Leagues. They won the Sextuple. They won the Sextuple in 2009. 2010, they won the league. They might have won the Copa del Rey that year as well. 2011, League and Champions League, although Real Madrid did beat them in the Copa del Rey final, that Ronaldo header. But yeah, it always felt like that Barcelona, under Pep, the tide had shifted with Barcelona, you know what I'm saying? The tide had shifted with Barcelona. Mourinho did get that league title. He did sort of, you know, restore some pride to Real Madrid, but it did feel like, yo, Barcelona were on top here. And it was like that pretty much until, you know, all the way up until that 2015 that 2015 run, the treble winning Barca side, that 2015 run. It felt like at the time that this was the team to beat for the years coming, to come, you know what I'm saying? But Real Madrid, hey man, it was level again, you know what I'm saying? It genuinely felt level again. I forgot to mention that, you know, Real Madrid did win that Champions League in 2014, La Decima. And I feel like between, you know, 2014 and about 20, I would say about 2014 to about 2017, it was very, very level, you know what I'm saying? It was very, very level. Maybe even 2018 up until Ronaldo left. The balance of power, Real Madrid, Barcelona, it was very level. Both teams, Real Madrid were winning Champions League, Barcelona winning won Champions League. Real Madrid did win 3, but Barcelona were the ones collecting the league titles. It was very much in the balance, you know what I'm saying? Very, very much in the balance. And then when Messi left, I feel like when Messi left, Real Madrid, balance of power shifted again. Real Madrid were in a good position, you know. They won in those next 3 years, they won 2 Champions Leagues, and it felt like they had the edge over Barca. But in my opinion, that tide is shifting once again, especially after last season, Barca's domestic treble. This year, winning the league comfortably again this year. It just feels like that, yo. Barcelona are in the driving seat now, you know what I'm saying? Barcelona are in the driving seat. Despite Real Madrid making all these signings, it just feels like Barcelona are the ones who have an identity. Yes, they're going to lose Lewandowski this summer, but I fully back them to, you know, just retool, restructure, and sort of go again. I feel like Hansi Flick has done an amazing job there at Barcelona. He never complains about injuries. There have been so many injuries to so many players. I'm pretty sure you can go through the whole Barcelona squad. They've all missed some time. They've all missed 3 or 4 games. And Hansi Flick, he never complains. He just retools. And yeah, Barcelona, they've been competing. In these last 2 years on the Flick, they've been competing under him. So yeah, Real Madrid need to back up their ideas, man. Civil wars at Real Madrid, it's looking crazy. It's looking crazy over there, man. When I heard brain trauma to Valverde, I was thinking, yo, I did not think a punch. I thought Tchouameni like hit him with a steel chair, WWE style. But hey man, what's going on at Real Madrid, man? This is a big summer for them, man. Don Perez has decisions to make.